Okay, this one is going to be 2-point perspective. So again, we've got our imaginary sheet of paper here. I've just drawn a rectangle to represent that. In 2-point perspective, it's like we're outside a building looking at it from an edge. And again, we need vanishing points. We need 2 of them, but we also need a horizon line. And again, this is really tough without having a pencil. A lot of the times you just draw this in pencil and then you go over what you want to keep in dark. But I'm going to try to wing it here, doing it all dark so you can see more clearly what's going on. I'm going to draw the horizon line. I'm just going to suggest it here, and I'll maybe cover over it a little bit later as I get things darker. But there's our horizon line. Imagine like a desert going off. I'm going to make my vanishing point actually slightly outside my drawing, right there and right there. You can use thumbtacks and a larger drawing table. Let me see if I can see that totally well. There we go. So here's one vanishing point, here's the other one. And again, if you imagine looking at the corner of a wall, and the wall goes on forever, I'll draw that edge. We'll say this is the edge of our wall right here. And I've got this T-square that helps me draw angles that are right angles. You can buy them quite cheaply. You can just use a ruler if you're really careful. But we'll say here is the edge of that wall. Imagine like a state penitentiary. There's one in Route 2 that has walls that go on for several hundred yards, and you can get this effect. So if this bottom of this wall went on forever, it would go to that vanishing point over there. But we'll say it doesn't go on forever. It goes, it's a building or it's some rectangular shape that goes that far. On this side, we'll have this edge also go towards its opposite vanishing point like this. Again, the thing you have to be really disciplined about is that all lines that'll be parallel to these in real life will go towards that vanishing point. Parallel lines in perspective meet at one point. They don't go on forever and not touch. So now this one is going to go down. This edge will go down towards this one like that. And that's going to be the edge of my building, my box, my cube. And that's that. This one, this side here on the right, will go towards this vanishing point. And I'm going to just try to match the length of this. Now, how long or how short I make these will create the impression of how long or short those walls are. As you look at this, it doesn't look like this is a cube. It looks like this side is maybe a little bit longer. If I had chopped it off like that, maybe it would have appeared to be a cube. All right? But we can make this into a building, a really simple building, perhaps a house or something like that. If I wanted to find the middle of this wall to build my house roof straight up the middle, I would draw diagonals, and I could draw this and that in pencil. They're going to cross right about there. So if I go straight up from here to some point like that, and then connect these to the edge. Now these are not going to vanishing points because they're not part of the walls that are parallel to this, but the top ridge, that will follow the rules of vanishing point. So this very top edge of my house here will go down at this angle towards the vanishing point. If that roof went on forever, oops, I made it a little bit too tall, but if that roof went on forever, I can just fake it by giving it like a little bit of a gutter. It's kind of cheating, but you can see how you can make amends for mistakes by doing things like that. How long I make this is a little bit tricky, but most of the times you can just guess and be as accurate as if you measured. There is a way of doing it, but I don't have the time to show you right now. But there's the roof of our house. If I want to put windows on this house, I just need to start by saying, all right, usually top and bottom windows are lined up, so I can make a window up in the top, the first top story, and one on the bottom floor. How wide are my windows going to be? Well, they'll be about this wide. Imagine that you are going to later draw these perspective lines, so I can fake it by using the thickness of the marker to kind of hide any mistakes. But these are going also towards the vanishing point, because if the windows were lined up in rows that went on forever, they too would go off into the distance and vanish in that one vanishing point. So just try to remember that. And you'll see there are my two windows. If I do a second set of windows, you'll see they'll get smaller, and they should be at the same level. So now I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to make these on the same line, shorter. Again, a little bit of practice and you can guess how much shorter to make them. There is a way of measuring it, so if this is the project you choose, I can show you how to do that. It's not that big a deal. So there's the tops, and then I'm going to make these windows narrower than the other ones, because again, things get closer and narrower together as they get off into the distance, and I'll give that a little bit of realism. Then I'm going to put a door maybe here. The door should go above eye level. Maybe not a lot, maybe I'm on a slight hill or something like that. I don't want to look too big in relation to the house. Maybe I'll put it up about here. And then the bottom of that door, I'm going to put it up on steps, so I'm putting it floating a little bit high. Be like that. And then again, everything is going towards this vanishing point. Nothing is horizontal. I'm not doing any lines horizontal except that original horizon. Okay, so now to make steps, I'm going to go straight down from a little bit off to the side of my steps here. And this will go away from the vanishing point as I come out. Again, sometimes it's hard to know which points you go from, but just imagine the steps. You're going into the house, so you'd be going along the line as you walk through the house towards that vanishing point. So these are going to come out like this. And then my steps are going to go, I'll just do a couple of steps. One step there, and then a second step, and then a final step, I guess, right there. And so then they come down like that, down like that, down like that. There are my steps on that one edge. Then this side of the steps will go towards the vanishing point like that. So there's, again, this marker is very thick just so the lines show up. Quite hard to do. Alright, and then I'm just going to fake it for the interest of efficiency, but there's the steps going up to my door. There's my doorknob. Alright. Suppose this is an old house, it's Paul Revere's house and it's in the middle of a city with tall skyscrapers. Well, I'm going to add a much larger building, and they're going to go on into the distance. As things go into the distance towards that vanishing point, they get closer and closer together. So the next house that's the same size might be that wide, but then this, if there's a house like right here, that's actually one that's much, much bigger than this one, even though this line is shorter than that one. And as I go higher, again, I'm going away from this vanishing point right here. It's going to be like a really tall building, and it's going to go something like where I'm trying to be above this point here, and it's going like that. And then this one's going out of the frame. And I'm a little bit off here, that's too bad. So I'm going to fake that right there. This one is a little bit closer. I can go straight down from here. Okay, then there's a gap between this and the other building. Like that. And, well, let's see, I'll get that one. Maybe go off the page. And here's this building. There's the edge of that building going straight up from that corner. Now you can see we've got like a skyscraper thing going. The gap, the alleys between these buildings will go towards this vanishing point. So this one is going to go up a little bit like that. This top will go down at an angle as it goes towards that vanishing point. Wherever the back of this building is going to be, maybe like right here. And I can say, well, there's going to be the very edge of that building showing as it goes up that way. And then the bottom edge here will go also towards the vanishing point on the left. Okay, so you can see how it looks a little bit now like a city that's forming. As you add more buildings, think about adding windows, and again, windows will be like the ceiling tiles. And our one-point perspective drawing, they're going to go like this. Maybe I'll have these corporate headquarters have all of their windows lined up. So there's a little strip. Anything that adds interest and detail to the drawing is a plus. Don't just make them really boring, repetitious shapes. And I'm trying to space these just as best I guess them, but you can measure vertical lines, spacing them evenly. And let's see if I get maybe two more in. And then one below the horizon line. There we go. Alright, so that's the basic concept between two-point perspective. Everything goes towards a vanishing point on the right or the left. If you want to add shadows in later, there are ways to do that where you Imagine that there's a light source up here and it's casting a shadow on this side, and you can darken things in and give it modeling, as it's called, and make it look more realistic. But that's the basic principles between 1 and 2 point perspective drawing.